Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are actually going to discuss a question from Dissolution of Partnership Firm chapter, where it talks about, it's a kind of small question, at the same time it's a kind of bit twisted one, okay, where they are talking about realization expense, okay, not exactly realization expense. At the time of realization expense, first of all we will discuss about what is realization expense. When you are selling an asset, see, when dissolution of firm happens, what do you mean by dissolution of firm? The entire business is getting closed. So 2-3 people who have been running business for so many number of years, they have entered the business or they are deciding to end the business, and after that what is happening? So at the time of end of the business, what they are supposed to do? They will sell all the assets of the business which is saleable. Some assets may be taken by the partners itself. So all these things happens, and with the money that they raise by the sale of such assets, they will pay the liabilities or they will try to settle the liabilities. So you have already studied that. So for all this process, they require some kind of expense, or they may incur some kind of expense, which is basically called realization expense. So that is how realization expense work. Okay. Here the question is about, see, for taking care of all these things, so realization expense is also a part of this process of realization. Just keep that in mind. Okay, question is exactly not about realization expense. I wanted to start this question with a particular thing that you are familiar with, or just an extra thing, okay, that you may have confusion with. So realization expense means any expense related to the selling of assets or payment of liabilities at the time of dissolution of the firm. Okay, so this expense usually it is paid by the firm, and if it is paid by the firm, there is no problem. Sometimes firm will not pay it, a partner will be paying this expense on behalf of the firm. So you have studied all these kind of cases. So related to this realization expense, I would like to say one more thing. Sometimes for all this process, okay, of realization expense to realization to happen, that means for the entire process of realization means like selling of assets and getting the money. So for all these things, sometimes one of the partners may take up the responsibility of selling the assets and paying the liabilities. So in turn, he must be paid with some amount, that is basically called remuneration. Realization expense was what? All the expenses that are related to selling of assets and paying of liabilities. So this also is a kind of expense, though we cannot call it as realization expense. It is also an amount that firm has to pay to the partners. Not all the partners, one among them may come forward to and take up the responsibility to sell all the assets and pay all the liabilities. So he will take care of all this process, entire process. For that, he or she may be asking for some kind of amount in return. That amount is basically called remuneration. This question is actually on that topic, okay, remuneration topic, which we are supposed to pay to the partner. So here, as you can see, resting is just a partner name, okay, it has nothing to do with the science that you studied, okay. So resting, a partner of the firm under dissolution, was to get a remuneration of 2% of the total assets realized other than cash, and 10% of the amount distributed to the partners. Assets, that means sundry assets. What do you mean by sundry assets? It's just total assets, okay. Sundry assets including cash, rupees 8,000, realized at rupees 1,16,000, and sundry liabilities is to be paid 31,340. So some details or some data is available in the question, where it says one person resting, okay, resting is the partner's name. Resting is actually a partner of a firm, and he was supposed to get a remuneration of 2% of total assets realized other than cash. See, when I say remuneration, or when we talk about remuneration of the partner for taking or handling this dissolution process, the remuneration will be normally calculated as a percentage of total asset that we are selling, and out of the total asset price which they collect, one part will be given to the partner who took care of all this process. So that is why it is mentioned like this. 2% of the total assets realized other than cash. That means whatever assets they are selling, on the realization value means what? The price at which these assets are getting sold. On top of that, 2% should be given. 2% of that value should be given or handed over to the partner who is in charge of this process. Okay. Also, he should will be given 10% of the amount distributed to the partners. Now the question is, what is 10%? What is amount distributed to the partners? Basically, as you know, he must have studied one concept. Okay, like when you sell an asset or at the time of dissolution, the money that we collect from the sale of assets is utilized in 4 ways, or utilized in this serial, or utilized for paying these 4 things that we are going to discuss now in this order. So first thing is, the money that we get by selling the assets or realizing the assets will be utilized to pay the outside liabilities. What it will be used for? It will be used to pay outside liabilities. Next, it will be used to pay inside liability. We will come to all these terms in detail soon. Then next, it will be used to pay the partner's capital account. Finally, it will be used to pay, or if any amount is still remaining, it will be shared among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. Surplus, we can call that extra amount as surplus. This is how the amount that we collect from the sale of an asset or at the time of dissolution, after selling all the assets, whatever amount we collect out of it will be used for all these things in this order: outside liability, inside liability, capital and surplus. Okay. So what is outside liability again? Outside liability means any kind of loans or borrowings that the person or that the business has taken from outside. Best example is creditors or bank loan. Sometimes partner's relative may have given any loan to the firm, might have given any loan. So partner's wife's loan, partner's brother's loan, partner's sister's loan. So any kind of these people, outside people, are involved in kind of lending to the business, then those amounts which we have to repay to them come under outside liabilities. It is also known as external liabilities. It is also known as external liabilities. Now comes the internal liabilities, or it is also known as inside liabilities. So internal liability means sometimes partners themselves may give any loan to the firm in crucial situations and all. So those loans comes under the second category, inside liability. So when we sell an asset at the time of dissolution, the money that we get, first it will be used to cover or to pay the outside liabilities. Leftover money will be used to pay the inside liabilities, that is partner's loan. Third, it will be used to pay the partner's investment in the business, that is capital account. Okay, partner's investment is shown by the capital account only, right? Still, if any extra money is there, it will be distributed to the partners in their profit sharing ratio. Okay, now coming back to the question, what they are saying, total assets realized other than cash and 10% of the amount distributed to the partners. Distributed to the partners means whatever amount is remaining with the firm after paying the liabilities and all, it is meant to be given to the partners. It is meant to be given to the partners, that you must have understood from these 4 amounts that we discussed here. Okay, so it is basically meant to be distributed to the partners. So here, as you can see, total amount that is realized from the asset is 1,16,000, as you can see, but there is one term which is mentioned there, including cash of 8,000. Cash is already there with the firm already. Before the process started itself, firm has a cash of 8,000 rupees, which is already counted when they considered this 1,18,000. That means actual amount that we are realizing from the sale of the assets and all is 1,08,000. 8,000 cash is already there. Okay, so we are just removing it because the question says like this: 10% of the amount distributed to the partners, and before that they are saying remuneration of 2% of the total assets realized other than cash. Other than cash means when you are going to pay the remuneration to the partner who took care of all the dissolution process, we are not going to consider the cash amount which is already included in the realized value of the assets. That is why we excluded this 8,000, because cash was already there. So remaining amount, that means 1,08,000. On 1,08,000 we have to pay 2%, or you have to calculate 2%. That means how much? 2,160 rupees. So we got 2160 rupees. This is what? This is only accounting to only 2% of the this one total assets realized other than cash, and 10% of the amount distributed to the partners. What do you mean by amount distributed to the partners? Amount distributed to the partners means after this process of dissolution, whatever amount is remaining, it will be given to the partners. So like that, here if you see 1,16,000 amount is available with the firm after selling the assets and all these things including cash. So totally 1,16,000 is there. This 1,16,000 is used for what? Used for first paying all the liabilities, whether it is external, internal, whatever it is, we are going to pay all the liabilities. Here it is mentioned sundry liability, totally this much liabilities are there. So 31,340 liabilities is there, 31,340. So when you remove it, 1,16,000 minus 31,340, how much will come? 1,16,000 minus 31,340. How much will come? Here 340 if it is gone, I'm just doing it quickly. So 84,660 will come. Okay, 84,660 will come. Okay, now 84,660 is the amount that is remaining to be given to the partners. What they will do with this 84,660? How 84,660 came? This 1,16,000 was the total value that we realized from the asset, and we are removing 31,340. So obviously when you are subtracting, we will get 84,660. Okay, I just did it very quickly. Okay, you just calculate and see. So 84,660 is there. This 84,660 will be given to whom? The partners. Whoever are the partners, all these partners will be given this amount, because this is the leftover amount. As we already discussed, this is the amount that should go to the partners. So this amount, okay, they are saying why we calculated this amount. The amount 10% of the amount distributed to the partners should be also given as a remuneration. So 10% of the amount means 84,650 is 10%. How much will come? 8,466. So 8,466 also we have to pay. The previous 2,160 also we have to pay. To whom? To the person called resting. As what? As remuneration. As remuneration. So totally how much we have to pay? 2,160. 8,466 plus 2,160. 6. Totally we have to pay 10,626. Now coming back to the question, those who didn't get the question properly, listen again. That is it. That is how it is. That means a partner, first of all, remuneration means it is an amount that is paid to any partner who takes care of the dissolution process. Dissolution process means just taking care of the sale of assets and payment of liabilities. So here one partner is actually doing something. So for that we are supposed to pay remuneration of 2% of the total assets. So remuneration is not given directly, we have to calculate. So they are paying it in two parts. One part is actually 2% of the total assets realized other than cash. That means out of the total assets realized value which is given here 1,16,000, 8,000 is cash. We are excluding that cash part. So rest of the amount is 1,08,000. 1,08,000 2% we have to pay to that partner in the form of remuneration. This is part 1 of the remuneration. Still one more part is there, because remuneration is calculated in two manner or two steps. First step we have calculated. According to the first step, this is the remuneration 2,160, and also he is supposed to get 10% of the amount distributed to the partners. For amount distributed to the partners we discussed already. Amount distributed means after paying all the liabilities, whatever amount is left with the firm, that amount is going to be distributed to the partners. So we found that amount, how much? 1,16,000 minus 31,340. 31,340 was the sundry liabilities. I said sundry liability means all the liabilities. So whatever liabilities were there, it comes together as 31,340. So after paying all these liabilities, whatever is left over is the amount that is going to be distributed to the partners. That is how much? 84,660. 84,660 is 10% is what? Again part 2 of the remuneration is 84,650. 10%. So part 2 84,660 into 10%, 8466. So 8466 we got. We have to pay both part 1 as well as part 2. So first calculation that we did is 2160 and second calculation is 8466. Totally we have to pay 10,626 as remuneration. Is the question over? Also pass the necessary journal entry for remuneration. That means remuneration entry we have to pass. So basically at the time of the dissolution of partnership firm, okay, reconstitution of partnership firm is also there, that is only up to the previous chapter. Previous chapter means what? Death of a partner. Here it is not reconstitution of partnership, it is dissolution of partnership. Dissolution of partnership means what? The entire business is coming to an end. So in that case the account that we draw mainly is called realization account. So in case of remuneration, in that situation the entry that we are supposed to pass is, that means for the remuneration that we have to pay to the partner, it will be passed using this entry. Realization account debit to, here resting is the partner, so resting's capital account. Realization account debit to resting's capital account, or whoever is supposed to get the remuneration, that person's capital account will be credited and realization account will be debited. This is the only entry for remuneration paid to the partner. Okay, so this, in this we will be writing 10,626. Okay, here narration will be remuneration transferred to partner's capital or resting's capital account. Remuneration transferred to resting's capital account. Okay, this is how we have to write. So what did we do here? It's a kind of different type of question where usually only one part or usually it will be like directly given in the question that remuneration is this much. In this question it is not given like that. They are asking us to calculate that. Also remuneration is actually calculated from two different amounts. One is from the total assets realized other than cash, and one is from the, on the basis of the amount that is remaining after paying all the liabilities. Okay, that is why we did two calculations separately. Okay, and we added the amount and we got the amount and we passed the journal entry also. Okay, when you are passing it, obviously you have to draw the journal. Do not forget that journal, all these journal account, journal, ledger account and all the accounts or statements, whatever you draw, format is must. You have to draw it maximum neatly to get the maximum marks in the upcoming boards. So make sure that you are following all these things, and I hope that this session was helpful for your exam preparations. Thank you.